I'm your cold boyfriend. Welcome to another live stream. Today we're going to be talking about musicals and what the best movie musicals are. In the chat or on the replay of this video in the comments, what are some of your favorite movie musicals? And so far as our sound goes, I think we sound just fine. All right. I love musicals. I've always loved the musicals. Um, they're really fun to me. Uh, It's like the largest way to amplify an emotion or a moment, right? The largest way to amplify a gesture, a part of a story. And if everything that's cinematic is already kind of made larger than life, the amplification of it, given rhythm, given a melody, that's really awesome. I love movie musicals. Now, I think it's really easy to make a bad musical. All right. I think it's kind of difficult to make a great musical. And we're going to find that out. We're going to find out just how difficult that is. Although I have included quite a few excellent, excellent musicals on here. So this is what we're going to be dealing with today. Take a look at that. I'm going to go full screen so you can have a better idea of all the movies that are included here. Now, as you can see, I have cheated a little bit and included some movies that maybe shouldn't be here, but I can justify it in some sort of way, and we'll talk about that when we get there. Yeah, Kaiwan, it's nice to it's nice that you're giving me your name. I always kind of knew it because it's your screen name, but thank you for joining us. What kind of musicals do you like? And I always love seeing your intrepid commentator. And I hope you enjoy this because I'm pretty sure this was your idea. I'm not only pretty sure, I am certain that you gave me this idea to do musicals. I love the musical genre. It should be fun. If I can remember how to drink water, we should be off to a great start. Um, yeah, I'm definitely missing a few. These are the first 40 something that came to mind. Uh, I'm apparently not a huge expert on musicals because I tried finding ones that were already pre-made, and it was full of just things I never even heard of in my life. I think that there are a lot of duds in musicals, but also so many great films. Some of these films are some of my favorites on the planet. So check this out real quick. You occasionally catch any musical that you want, maybe more the rock ones. Yeah, yeah, we have a couple rock ones on here at least. I would say. I would say for sure. But just to kick it off, one that I definitely consider a musical. Okay, so some of the cheats on here is if a film's largest moment is a musical number, right? If when I think of the film, I think of of a musical production. If the most interesting information or the most interesting feelings of the film are conveyed through performance, through musical performance, then I kind of think of it as a musical sort of film. Sid and Nancy is one of those films. Of course, there are, Sex Pistols and punk songs all throughout it, but the most riveting part of the entire film is Gary Oldman doing, as Sid Vicious, doing Frank Sinatra's "My Way." And then he starts to shoot the audience, and like he and Nancy escape together. It's gorgeous. It's wildly good. It's so awesome. So, I'm gonna put that at the A tier. It's such a great moment. It might be my favorite Gary Oldman performance, and it mostly comes down to, what he conveyed in that musical number, which I think is a play off of Rock and Roll Swindle, if I'm not mistaken, but still it is, I think it's super powerful and just incredible. An incredible musical number. Now we have a straight up musical. In fact, everything in The Umbrellas of Cherbourg is a musical. It's an opera. It is so good. It's one of my favorite films ever. It's going to be our first S tier movie starring Catherine Deneuve, directed by Jacques Demy. Um, First time I watched this movie, it made me feel so full, like my appetite had finally been satisfied by a film. It's mostly everything I want in a movie. I think it's delightful. I think it's tragic. I think it's heartbreaking. I think that Catherine Deneuve is incredible to look at, and Jacques Demy's camera is just working wonders there. The colors are extraordinary, and I get swept away with the film. I love The Umbrella to Cherbourg so much. I think it's beautiful. I think it's a beautiful film, that I'll probably make reference to as we go down this tier. Um, it's just gorgeous. I don't think I'm done talking about Umbrellas of Cherbourg yet, but for now, we're gonna leave it at that. And then An American in Paris, so another S tier for sure. I think it's Vincent Minnelli's best work. I think it's Gene Kelly's best work as well. An American in Paris is just a dazzling, dazzling film. My hottest take on An American in Paris is like the ending ballet that Gene Kelly, like, labored over, like, choreographing, and I think it's probably the best ballet sequence in all of film, which makes it, and here's my hot take, like, so much better than The Red Shoes. The Red Shoes is it's, to me, like, a pretty boring movie outside of that one kind of ballet dream sequence in the middle, and even then, I don't think it's nearly as impressive as a lot of people would have you believe. I think that the ending of An American in Paris does it so much better. I like, I feel like I'm levitating because of how beautiful the choreography is. Gosh, Gene Kelly was so good in that. What was her name, you guys? She was an actual, ballerina. She was great. Leslie Caron. Leslie Caron or Caron. She's amazing. She's amazing, and, my god, the reason she's in the film is because of that final scene, and that final scene is one of the best movie moments of all time. Yeah, Leslie Caron is just unstoppable, and Gene Kelly is transcendental in that final scene. Let's see here. Thoughts on Damien Chazelle? Very much inspired by Jacques Demy in particular, and other musicals of the like. You see, I thought this would come up, and I don't think I've ever watched a Damien Chazelle movie. I've seen parts of La La Land, but certainly not enough to say that I've watched the movie. I don't know. I don't know. Um, I knew this would come up, so I prepared nothing. I I have no idea why I've never watched a Damien Chazelle movie. I mean, I can say that La La Land, like, you would think it's up my alley, but something about it just never interested me. I'm not sure what that was, though, but, I should probably check out his work. I think you're right. I might like it. Do you like Damien Chazelle? You probably love Young Girls Have Rushed for More? Well, we haven't gotten there yet. I mean, I can already tell you I don't I don't love it as much, but I think it's fabulous. Um, so good. American in Paris, I've seen that whole film on HBO Max. Good, because it's great. I love it. I hope you like it. What a hot take. I was enchanted the entire time in the red shoes. I can't do it. I don't know. I don't know. Everybody raves about that movie, but no one tells you is that they rave about 3 minutes of the movie, 3 to 7 minutes of that movie. That's it. That's all they rave about. Oh, yeah, he did Whiplash as well. How you doing, Nessie? He did Whiplash as well. He did, like, the First Man movie too. I don't know, I've never watched a Damien Chazelle movie. Like, Whiplash didn't interest me either. I don't know. Maybe I'm just old and bitter now. It's certainly a possibility. He seems talented, I don't know. I liked La La Land and Whiplash, not crazy about Babylon. Oh, yeah, he did Babylon. See, I always forget everything Damien Chazelle did as well. And Babylon at least seems interesting, at least the response to Babylon. But, yeah, that's probably, like, the largest missing spot on here is La La Land. I just never watched it. It looked okay, I don't know. I have no idea, it just didn't look interesting to me. And I mean, and here's one of my cheats, and, It's Gilda, which is definitely not a musical. But every time I think of Gilda, I think of Put the Blame on Mame. I think of the one musical number in it. In fact, like this poster, I think it's the Criterion poster, used a still from that performance. Like everyone thinks of that performance because that's Rita Hayworth at her most stunning and Gilda at her most open and vulnerable as this kind of femme fatale sort of character, or this complicated film noir heroine. I mean, since it's not a musical and doesn't meet all the requirements, I can't put it at S. I'll put it at B. As a film noir, it's probably an S. But I cheated. I just have to talk about that one musical number. One musical number, you get so much introspection. You actually get a kind of real Gilda, even though it's a performative kind of emotional outpouring. It's still real, and the fact that it's performative probably makes it feel more natural for the character. I love the movie Gilda. I love Rita Hayworth. Who doesn't? And that's only the first of my cheats. I have a couple cheats on here, and then there's Hair, which is kind of goofy. I think that Milos Forman directed it, which is also kind of goofy. He did One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest and Amadeus, and also he did Hair. The best part of Hair is Treat Williams. Um, I like the first half of Hair a lot. Uh, the movie doesn't really stay focused at all. I don't know what the stage production's like, but I doubt it's very focused either. But seeing Treat Williams sing at that kind of yuppie table, I Got Life, and just dance all over the place, it's like a one man La Vie Boheme. I mean, Treat Williams is good enough for me to put it in the C category. It's a decent film about kind of draft dodgers during the Vietnam War and kind of the kind of counterculture that was flourishing in that time. So it's fine. It's just fucking goofy. It honestly really is goofy. And then I see people like Nina Simone like cover the songs in the movie Hair, and I go, oh, so this is what it could have sounded like. No matter how much I like Treat Williams, fucking Nina Simone singing "I Got Life" is a lot more impactful. Treat is just, I mean, a treat. It's in his name. Then we got Pennies from Heaven. I know a lot of people really like this movie. I feel the same way about it as I do about Hair. I think it's cool. I think it's okay. I would also call it goofy. And it's strange. Okay. Part of every musical is contrived, right? About theatricality. But like since it's already cinema, it's already like partly contrived. So I normally forgive it. So even within like a contrived framework, Pennies from Heaven to me is still forced, which sounds like a silly criticism, but it's a very truthful one for Pennies from Heaven. Other films can pull off the theatricality a lot better. I don't know. I love musicals. It's like putting a spotlight on a moment, amplifying a moment, giving a character their solo that they never truly got in the narrative of actual life. I like that a lot. So I like the contrived nature of um of musicals, but Pennies from Heaven it's pushing it a bit. Uh, Maybe the C tier is gonna be a bit populated, but I'll put Busby Berkeley's Gold Diggers of 1933 just above it. Um, Basically, this Gold Diggers, you can just imagine that it's every Busby Berkeley musical. It's representative of them all. Um, uh, he He certainly had a style that I think defined what a large part of 30s popular cinema, and some of it's kind of beautiful. I mean, he had like a lot of different players doing these kind of synchronized like dance routines, and the camera would normally be overhead, and they'd be making like shapes and doing all sorts of crazy stuff. It's large musical productions. It's fitting that we did silent movies the other day because when sound came with a fury, and people became almost immediately obsessed with musicals. And Busby Berkeley was one of the first to truly capitalize on that in a creative way. I just don't think his musicals are truly compelling. They feel primitive when we're talking about some of these other films, uh, but not Tommy. I'm sorry, I fucking hate Tommy. Tommy is just headache inducing. Tommy is the most headache inducing thing in the world. I think the best part of the whole movie is Tina Turner's Acid Queen bit. That's the only part that I vibe with. The rest is just, oh my fucking god. And Oliver Reed was too insane in that movie. He gives me the creeps. Everything about that movie gives me the creeps. 60s British bands had like the most morbid sense of humor possible. Um, let's see what's going on in the chat. Sweet Charity is not here. Let me look it up. I might not have seen it, everybody. What? With Sammy Davis Jr. and Shirley MacLaine? Guess what? I haven't. Be Real, I've never heard of it. um, on Google, it's like people also ask, why did Sweet Charity flop? All right, so it seems like it's a bit of an underrated gem. Thank you for bringing it to my attention. I'll definitely check it out. I love all the characters. You know, actress, stepfather, it's awesome. Good. I think Milos did too. I didn't feel like looking it up, but I feel like basically if I'm misremembering that, that's like the weirdest shit I could possibly be wrong about. Hold on a second. Motherfucker. Okay, I have to skip a couple comments. Yes, and Bob Fosse directed it? That's insane. I've never even heard of this movie, and I love Bob Fosse. I love him to death. That's insane. Okay, now I definitely have to watch it. All right, let me go back to where I was here. Is he dead? Is he really dead? Was? Holy shit, that just happened like a few months ago. Motorcycle act. What the fuck? I had no idea. Yeah, rest in peace. You were fucking awesome in Hair. I had no idea. That's whoa. You guys just saw a real-time reaction. I had no idea. Treat Williams, man, the Phantom, Deep Rising. God, fuck. Sorry, Treat Williams. Yeah, I don't know much about the play. Doesn't help that they're lip syncing. It never really helps, but like I'm okay with it. I mean, Umbrellas with Cherbourg, I'm fine with it. That's not Catherine Deneuve. Like I don't care. I don't care at all, honestly. It's just bad when it's super noticeable, I guess. Why would you not let Bernadette Peters sing? Okay, that's a better criticism. Yeah, it's just she's phenomenal, right? That's so dumb. Okay, yeah, I have to go with your original criticism. Yeah. You shouldn't have people who can actually sing lip sync. Save the lip syncing for the pretty French girls like Catherine Deneuve if they can get away with it. Yeah, yeah, cousin Oliver, or I got Oliver on here, um, somewhere. If that's what you're saying. We went over that. You think that Sweet Charity was making fun of hippies? It didn't look like it was, but all right, no big deal. What? Everything I hear about this movie makes it sound amazing. It's a musical adaptation of Knights of Cabiria. Oh my god, I had no idea. If I'm not understanding something you're saying, just let me know. I'm not sure. That's really I had no clue. I had no clue that movie existed. I love Knights of Cabiria as well. Um, okay. So the next one is Sweeney Todd from Tim Burton. Um, I okay. I don't necessarily care if everybody in the cast is super talented. At least, I mean, here's one with absolutely no lip syncing, and it shows. I think that Tim Burton's really good. I think he's probably great. He's a premier artist, and I think that Sweeney Todd is one of his very best films, if not actually his best film, because I think that he's making a lot of statements in it about like about himself that are kind of critical of his own work. You know, just like the meat pies, the human-made meat pies that they keep serving to their customers. I think that Tim Burton's also saying that he is kind of recycling the same themes and materials, and that his films have started to cannibalize themselves, and in a larger way, since he's using like the language of Caligari and Frankenstein, and like he always has. I think he's finally saying that like Hollywood or film itself. Genre filmmaking has started to cannibalize itself as well. It's like a gory celebration of slashed throats, and I am grinning the entire time it's on. I think it's fabulous. Um, I don't care, I'm gonna put it in the S tier. I honestly think it's Burton's true masterpiece. It's a delightful film, that I think is saying an awful lot about itself, about its maker, and, I think it's unordinary for Tim Burton to make kinda large statements like that, and he was extremely articulate, within the film. Yeah, I think it's morbid and gothic and, um, not only insightful, but fun. And next up, there's Across the Universe, which was, like, really big when I was in high school, I think. Um, that Joe Anderson dude was awesome, and then he disappeared off the face of the earth. The one who sings "Happiness is a Warm Gun," he was awesome, and then he disappeared entirely. But, but I like the movie, but I think it's a C tier movie. I think it's top of the C tier. You know, top of the C tier or a low B. Maybe I'll feel a little bit nicer later. It's hard to really warm up to some of these jukebox musicals. You know, Evan Rachel Wood was cool. Jim Sturgis was great. Like everyone was fine within it. It just feels so derivative. I don't think it makes I don't think it finds its own identity very well, or at least it doesn't kind of carve it out of the songs. It always plays second fiddle to the song that they're kind of covering in the movie. And damn, these are all just C tier movies, man. I don't like the original West Side Story, which might be kind of weird. Not a huge fan. I never watched the remake with Spielberg. I mean, Spielberg doesn't interest me, and B, I don't like I don't like the musical itself. But it is Sondheim and Bernstein, right? There's a lot of talent behind it. Well, I don't know. Outside of Sweeney Todd, like Sondheim is hard. Sondheim can be like really, really grating occasionally. He certainly has a unique voice, and that unique voice is sometimes it's smothering. I don't know. I have no idea. He led the original Broadway cast of Sweeney Todd. Yeah, the cast is better. Um, everyone in there could sing of the original Sweeney Todd. The cast is better, but it's strange because it's a musical that I don't think is necessarily trying to be like a great musical. Tim Burton is kind of renegade, man. He's kind of renegade. I don't think he was trying to make a great musical, or else he wouldn't have cast his muses that he casts people based on aesthetic decisions. He's all about the visuals, and so it's kind of fun seeing him take on something that is so incredibly sonic, like a musical, and just there's a bit of deconstruction going on within that as well. Yeah, Sweeney Todd is a bit different than the play. Of Across Okay, yeah, every girl had a huge crush on Joe Anderson because he's a Kurt Cobain copy, and I don't blame them. He was very handsome. It's fine. He was a standout. He was a standout. He was incredible. He was incredible in that movie. Yeah, that "Happiness Is a Warm Gun" number is probably my favorite from Across the Universe, and it also has, for the fellas, we get like 5 sexy Salma Hayek nurses, feeding him morphine or whatever, saying bang bang shoot shoot. Okay, there are some cool parts in there. I might have to reevaluate where it's at, but still. A lot of people love West Side Story. I think most people love West Side Story. I mm, I don't hate Sondheim, I swear to God, just sometimes he's super grating and difficult to get on with. That's what's kind of, to me, charming about Sweeney Todd is that, like, Helena Bonham Carter is so out of her depth, but, like, it works within the movie. It works so well for me. It's pretty cool. Hey, I like Dreamgirls. Dreamgirls is a good musical that Jennifer Hudson can really sing and act, she's great. Dreamgirls is good, isn't it, like, very, very, like, loosely based on The Supremes or something like that? I thought Dreamgirls was lovely, emotional, good music, great stuff. Um, Jamie Foxx was awesome in that movie, he was excellent. Moulin Rouge, okay, dude, it's going on the seat here. That's another jukebox musical, but at least you got Baz Luhrmann being kinda crazy and wild and, um, providing you with all the sensory overload you would ever need. Um, Moulin Rouge is, to me, it's momcore. It's momcore as fuck. That's shit moms love to death, which I guess is fine, but I'm not super into it. Yeah, Eddie Murphy was great in Dreamgirls. I wanted to say he was great in Dreamgirls. It's super dope. Super, super dope. But yeah, Eddie Murphy was awesome. Beyonce was good too. I mean, Dreamgirls is just good. Right now, it's the head of the B tier. But Moulin Rouge, bro, I don't know. It's too fucking much, and it's momcore. I swear it is. Kind of cheating again with Almost Famous. It's not necessarily a musical. There are definitely musical numbers, okay? But just like with Gilda, when you think of Gilda, you think of Put the Blame on Mame because it says so much about the character and so much about the film itself. When I think of Almost Famous, I think about I think about everybody on the tour bus singing Tiny Dancer. It's definitely a fucking musical number, and it's certainly elating, and it's a beautiful, incredible, and wonderful moment. And it's a film that is devoted to music itself, to celebrating music, to everything about music that most people find so irresistible. I think that it meets more of the requirements of a musical than Gilda. I don't think it's a it's a musical still. On its own, it's probably an A or an S tier movie. Cameron Crowe is a brilliant director, but it's gonna hang out in the B's. It's gonna hang out in the B's right now. Chicago, Chicago, it's better than Hair, but it's on the C tier. Um, mm, Catherine Zeta-Jones is phenomenal in the film. She's great. Like pulls off all that jazz so well. John C. Reilly is even fantastic in the movie, and that's kind of where my appreciation for it starts and ends. Uh, I wish there was a bit more Bob Fosse in the choreography. I wish it. There are parts that are fine, but I guess I had higher expectations for Chicago, and I still have high expectations for Chicago. They should remake that movie. I wasn't the biggest fan of it, if I'm being perfectly honest. But Catherine Zeta-Jones, holy shit, she out of this world, beautiful stuff. Um, that's why it's at a high C. Uh, I think she really took to the role. Then we have Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, which I'll put that above Almost Famous. I think one of the most eternal musical numbers in the history of cinema is "Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend," that Marilyn Monroe number. You've seen it uh, you've seen people pay homage to it. You've seen it repeated. You've seen it analyzed and worshipped ever since that film came out. It's kind of musical perfection, right? And I think that was Howard Hawks. I believe it was Howard Hawks, and that's what I call musical perfection. It's easily the best part of the entire film, and Marilyn Monroe, one of the greatest screen idols of all time. But you don't need me to tell you that. But I think that that's probably her most everlasting performance is "Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend." Dancer in the Dark. I hate to upset everybody, but I hate Lars von Trier mostly. I get asked about Lars von Trier a lot, and I don't know if I give off a Lars von Trier vibe or a Lars von Trier fan vibe, but I've never been a big fan of Lars. I think his movies are like mostly just bad and self-obsessed, and yeah, kind of hate everything about his films. Even Catherine Deneuve being in Dancer in the Dark like didn't do anything for me, and at all. He somehow fumbled the ball by having Catherine return to the musical genre. Like fuck off, Lars. It's terrible. The bandwagon is going at the very end of C. Um, it's kind of an older Fred Astaire. I mean, he's still got it. He's still got it, and people love that movie. I think it's Arthur Freed and Minnelli. Um, I kind of think it's kind of forgettable, but still, people like it a lot. Man, I'm not a huge Wizard of Oz fan either, ladies and gentlemen. Let's put that there. Hey, Fever Dog was a great that's a great musical number. Was that actually Jason Lee singing? Because if so, I'm impressed. Almost Famous can count, kind of. I don't think the ending of Almost Famous is sad. I think it's all in all like a pretty uplifting movie. You love Chicago? Well, I love Catherine Zeta-Jones. Kind of counts. Yeah, Mr. Cellophane. He's Mr. Cellophane. Oh my god, John C. Reilly just killing it all the time. Catherine is normally the greatest part of every movie she's in. Now that's just cinema royalty. I rarely does the film itself, like, love an actress more than film has always seemed to love Catherine. And then, Mary Poppins. I hate Mary Poppins. It's a terrible movie. I was putting together this list and I was like looking around at like, because I would think that I would forget a couple and I definitely would have forgotten Mary Poppins because I don't ever think about it. And people genuinely think it's a great movie. I genuinely think it's kind of trash personally. Um, yeah, I don't care. I don't care. I don't even have anything interesting to say. I don't even have like a fun or funny hot take about Mary Poppins. I just think it's a very bad movie. Okay, I'm done being cynical, everybody. We got Funny Girl now, and that can go right behind Dreamgirls on the B tier. Yes, it can go right there. That's where it's gonna stay. Don't Rain on My Parade is amazing. Barbara Streisand fucking rules. She was kind of a cutie too, not gonna lie. But, Don't Rain on My Parade, oh my god. It's one of the best show tunes ever written, and no one sings it better or performs it better than Barbara, and, the filmmaking was pretty good. I think it was William Wyler. It's a pretty well put together film. I think it's great. I think A Star Is Born is, um, the 1954 version of A Star Is Born starring, Judy Garland. I think is phenomenal. We finally have another movie on the A tier. Uh, honestly, I think that's Judy's best. Like her voice was out of this world, and what she was able to communicate through the camera when she was on fire and she was on point was almost second to none. Almost. It's I think it's an extraordinary film. That's the only version of A Star Is Born that's on here, and I think that was a remake as well. The original came out in the 30s, I believe, and then they remade it with Chris Christopherson, and that one's not on here. I don't like that one. That one's just boring, and I never saw the Lady Gaga one, but Bradley Cooper, I have like this knee-jerk reaction to being deathly uninterested in everything Bradley Cooper does. Um, but it didn't look bad. I don't know. I don't even care about Lady Gaga too much, so, like, nothing was really drawing me to that version of A Star Is Born, but I've heard decent things, and, like, the songs that I have heard parts of sound fine, but I think A Star Is Born is kind of that's Judy's movie to me. That's Judy's story. And then The Nightmare Before Christmas, I'll also put at the very end of the B tier. I think it's an excellent, animated movie. Uh, I think it's lovely, you know? I think it's really good. Um, ever seen Funny Lady? I actually love it. Good. I'm glad you love it. That's great. I think Barbara is just so cute, an underrated cutie. We need to reclaim her as a cutie. And What's Up Doc is good. That's right, A Star Is Born for sure. So good. At the End of the World. 72 version, that's gotta be the Chris Christopherson one, right? Never really vibed with that one. No big deal though. The Gaga version didn't look bad. I just honestly wish it wasn't Bradley Cooper. I don't know. Just a boring guy. Just a boring guy. Um, 1 second. But here we go. Let's keep going. The Sound of Music. I also really don't like The Sound of Music. That goes in the D tier as well. Maybe, how about this? Maybe I hate Julie Andrews. Maybe I am the opposite of a Julie Andrews fan. Maybe I'm a Julie Andrews hater. Hate The Sound of Music. Hate everything about it. It's so annoying. The bad thing about a bad musical is that I have nothing insightful to say about why it's bad. It's just simply bad. It just doesn't work for me at all. Hate it. God, I wish I had something better to say. Hey, how about a great movie? How about that S tier is looking lonely, ladies and gentlemen. Um, The Young Girls of Rushford. Yeah, I'll put right next to An American in Paris on the S tier. Yeah, I like Cherbourg. That's my favorite Demi movie. But The Young Girls of Rochefort is, oh my god, so incredible. Now that's a beautiful kind of postmodern homage to the Hollywood studio musicals. I love Gene Kelly in it. God, I always fuck up her name, but Catherine's sister, Francois Dorlio, whatever, riveting. They are so good together. I'm not even talking about Catherine and Francois or whatever. I can't say her fucking name. The two sisters. I'm talking about Gene Kelly and Francois Dorliac. I'm talking about them and their dance, which is so incredible and elating. And I can just you can just feel Demi's presence behind the camera overflowing with joy. I love the dance numbers in the film. I love the feeling of the movie. Obviously, I love the colors as well. Umbrellas of Cherbourg is a tragedy, whereas Young Girls of Rochefort is a celebration. Demi literally wanted people to leave the theater and go out and dance within the street to make real life musical. To amplify those smaller moments of your life and make them larger than they actually are. To live with a certain kind of performative musicality. That's what Demi wanted, and I think he accomplished that with me. First time I watched Young Girls of Rochefort, I wanted to fucking just dance all the time. It was so much fun. It was so great. Perfect film. Absolutely perfect film. Now we have Oliver. Um, C tier is gonna get populated, y'all. My favorite version of Oliver Twist is Oliver and Company, and it's because my taste is really really weird. Oliver's fine. I think that's another Oliver Reed film. Um, I think it's fine. I have a friend who is obsessed with that movie, but I've never really been able to vibe with it too well. Uh, But I feel bad saying that I don't really like it, so I pretend to like it around him. I pretend that it's one of the best musicals of all time just to save us a disagreement because I really don't have any passionate feelings about Oliver. It's fine, it's whatever. I just wish that, how about remake that, okay? Because I feel the age with it. I don't think it's aged very well. I fucking hate Fiddler on the Roof. That goes at the end of D. All right, and I'm a good Jewish boy. I hate this fucking movie with all of my heart. Um, a Norman Jewison film. I feel like it's terrible. Okay, it's the most annoying thing ever. I talked about being mom core before with some of these movies. That's grandma core. Okay, I want nothing to do with the Fiddler on the Roof, and I believe they're talking about remaking it. Like, just kill me. Like, I don't even know how you remake it. Please. What's up, Witches Brew? It's good to see you. Hope you're doing well. I've seen Victor Victoria and I hate it. I might just have this kind of fucking I might just be a hater. You know, let's drop all the intellectual posturing. I might just hate Julie Andrews and I'm comfortable with that. I really am. Repo the Genetic Opera didn't make it here. It almost did. It almost did. But then I was like, I underestimated the chat. I was like, well, no one cares. No one's even going to bring up that movie. Um, I'm not the biggest fan of the movie, but it'd be in the C tier. It's fun as fuck, but no, it's not here. I don't know if all these movies are super big, though, but they are kind of big. They are kind of big. No, we got some real indie delights at the very end. So we're representing. We're showing up. Carmen Jones. Is that the? No, I don't have it on here because I haven't watched it, but I really want to. That's the Otto Preminger, Dorothy Dandridge film, right? From the 50s. No, I've never watched it. I really want to. I love Preminger, and I think musicals are cool. But I haven't watched it yet. If it's your favorite musical of all time, I definitely got to check it out. It's good to see you, Ruben. Oh, and you side with it. You just got co-signed. All right, Carmen Jones is wonderful. I think a remake would be great as well. The production's fine. It hasn't aged well. Musicals are a difficult genre for me. Fiddler on the Roof song. Yeah. I hate Yentl. I hate Yentl. It's kind of stupid though, right? Because like I hate these fucking these kinds of movies because I was forced to watch them so much by old Jewish ladies when I was younger. So, oh no, you're the one person who hates Julie Andrews. Well, she finally found a hater. It's me. Hello, everybody. Spoonful of sugar will help the hate go down, everybody. I don't know why I hate Julie Andrews, and I just realized it now. Yeah, not a fan. Camp is awesome. Hey, I think there's some camp here, and I think that camp and musicals go hand in hand, honestly. Um, uh, because musicals, if they can pull off the initial like contrivances, right? If they can pull off the initial because every musical is contrived to a certain point because everybody is amplifying emotions and singing what they're feeling and what they're doing and singing through narration, that kind of thing. Camp can attach itself so easily to that, and I think the dangerous part of that is that camp can attach itself to something that didn't want anything to do with camp. It's so easy to make a bad or less than average musical. It's very difficult to make a truly great one. But a lot of people have, and a lot of people like Jacques Demy have done it more than once. There is a secret there's a secret kind of formula to making a musical, and it's one that I think that we should probably study or something. Someone should really figure out how you make the perfect fucking musical because like Umbrellas of Cherbourg and Ladies of Rochefort, like everything on the S tier to me. Okay, forget about Sweeney Todd for a second. That's up there for kind of different reasons. But these three right here, um, there's something to them. Like I don't think they really have aged. I think they really are like eternal. I think they're perfect. There's a secret. There's a secret code. Angela Lansbury's fine. I ain't got nothing bad to say about her yet. 888 the movie? What are you saying? Is this a real movie? It's a real movie. I guess I don't know. Man, I don't think I've ever heard of 888. No, Julie Andrews is not a goddess. I got Singing in the Rain on here somewhere, don't I? Yeah, I got it on there. We can It's nowhere near as good as An American in Paris. That's true. Alright, if we can replace, Angela Lansbury or Julie Andrews, maybe, I don't know. I never thought of them as that similar before. I don't know, but that's a good idea. Is it a good idea? I'm just saying things now. All That Jazz, come on, S tier, let's get complicated. Let's get down and dirty and depressed. All That Jazz, I think, is a Bob Fosse miracle of a film. I think it's high art. It's extremely nihilistic. It's cosmically pessimistic. It's the least feel good musical ever made. And it's a beautiful kind of character study. I think it's like a hyper personal film for Bob Fosse. I think he's making so many confessions through that work that through the theatricality of dancing of musical numbers, he's able to kind of reveal this a portrait of himself that feels so honest because it's so, I think, uncharitable, and I think that it's so confrontational. Roy Scheider was incredible in that film, just absolutely incredible. All That Jazz is easily one of the greatest films ever made. Also, a completely essential musical that's just alive with it, alive with a certain kind of morbid musicality that I find irresistible, honestly. And I like that it's about, show people, and it's kind of demonstrating that they're putting on these musical numbers because they lack that amplification in their own lives. Like Roy Scheider, like, or Bob Fosse, because he's really playing Bob Fosse. He lacks the clarity of a perfectly choreographed musical number in his actual life, and that's fucking heartbreaking. And even then, that's too simplistic. That's too simplistic because it gets even more morbid when he writes his, like, goodbye to the fucking world, which is like, bye bye love, bye bye happiness, hello loneliness. I feel like I could die. So goodbye, my love, goodbye. It's outrageous. It's outrageous. That view of death, it's a fucking suicidal movie, and I think it's beautiful, okay? S tier quality. Bob Fosse, complete genius. Rocky Horror Picture Show. How do you put something like Rocky Horror Picture Show on a list like this, right? How do you do that? Because how do you properly judge a film? Do you judge it based on the quality of the actual film or on what the audience has transformed it to become? I'm gonna do what audience has transformed it to become. I'm not a huge fan of this film, but I'll put it on the B tier. Uh, it's fascinating because obviously the movie is, you liked camp. I just got someone in the chat saying they like camp. Well, here's the queen of camp, Rocky Horror Picture Show. Um, what's most fascinating about the Rocky Horror Picture Show is it really puts a spotlight on the audience for me. I think that the audience is one of the most important parts of every form of art, of every film that's ever made. The audience is one of the most important parts. So it's the audience that transforms the film into what it will ultimately become. And this could work positively and negatively towards a kind of film. And in Rocky Horror Picture Show, they transformed that film into a rite of passage for teenagers and young people all across the country to get dressed up in drag and go and act like lunatics in a movie theater at midnight while the show plays and throw candy and squirt water guns and pistols and get drunk as hell. I think that's incredibly valuable. The audience transformed Rocky Horror Picture Show into some sort of cultural statement, into something far, far, far beyond itself. And I think that's really neat. And now we have Crybaby. Did not include Hairspray because I don't really like Hairspray, but I love John Waters and didn't want to say a bad word about John Waters. Crybaby can go at the end of the B tier. I just want to imagine just how happy John Waters, the fucking Pope of filth or Pope of trash, was to have someone like Johnny Depp on his set in 1990 and to make this super melodramatic, incredibly campy, and really fun kind of musical romantic comedy. It's great to me. I think it's really fun. I'll put it above Rocky Horror. Um, I'll put it in between these two. I think it's a lovely John Waters movie. I love that movie so much. Let me see what's going on in the comments very quickly. Kenny Ortega fan? Let me tell you in a minute. Oh, fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. He did High School Musical and Descendants. Fuck yeah, I'm a Kenny Ortega fan. Thanks for the poll. Descendants rules. All three of those Descendants movies are fucking baller, all right? Yeah, I guess I am a Kenny Ortega fan. Thanks for that poll. I always thought Julie Andrews is a little boring. Thank you, Ruben. You and I are we're rarities. We're rarities around here. She is a little boring. Well, I think the thing is, musicals are far more subjective than regular films because the music taps into your emotional core. Yeah, I think that's absolutely true. Um, I mean, I think we can wax poetic about musicals uh, for an extremely long time if we really wanted to. Um, I'm kind of smiling to myself because I, I've been on this trip for like a couple years in my reviews and analyses of like, you know, are our movies truly real life, or have we incorporated so much of cinema into our own real lives that we kind of have cinematic expectations of our own lives? And it could be vice versa as well, right? I mean, obviously, we have real life expectations of a lot of cinema, which I think is an unfair thing to expect from cinema, but it constantly informs the other. Because I'm smiling to myself thinking about like those kind of moments that you have with like a certain kind of girl or a certain kind of friend group, or even just like a vibe or the atmosphere, and you're out alone somewhere, and they feel musical somehow, and it feels like amplified by the memory of of Hollywood musicals. It's so crazy, honestly. But but it truly just comes down to subjective. It gets down to your emotional core. Um, I wish more people were more open to musicals. Uh, People are really cut off to musicals, and by people I mean the fellas out there. Come on, dudes, let's rock and roll a little bit. Nihilistic as hell, for sure. Rocky Horror, my first musical experience. I'm surprised it's not on the list. It is on the list, but maybe you meant like the S tier or something. I don't know. Did I see Fosse Verdon? I follow my queen, the living goddess Michelle Williams, wherever she goes. Of course, I saw Fosse Verdon. It was dope. It was dope. It was good. It was good. You know, I I grew up in a very small town in Vermont called Woodstock, Vermont, and like when that show came out, I looked up Gwen Verdon, and she apparently like throughout my entire childhood, she lived in that town. She died in that town, and I'm like trying to rack my brain because you knew everybody who lived there. It was that small. I'm like, can I remember in like an old recluse who someone may have said was a famous like theater star? Like maybe I met her. I don't know. Ah, that's one of the greatest things in life that I can't remember. The oh, those movies, I think I know what you're talking about. They're cult movies. They're kinda goofy, but I guess they're fun. I don't know. You do see once here. You do. It's gonna come up. Golden Dragon, black kind of music. I don't know what you're talking about. But, I base, musicals mostly on the music. If I don't like the music, I don't like the movie. I'm I think I'm a bit more generous with musicals, I guess. Um, but it's true, the music of it. You gotta like the fucking music of it. Um, but I think a great performer can make you like just about anything, right? A great performer can elevate even a bad song into something great. Like I definitely don't listen to, Fred Astaire songs, but when I'm watching a Fred Astaire movie, I'm like, "Oh, this is beautiful. This is great," even though it's not like the music I like. What about Hair 1979? That's here on the C list. I talked about it a little bit earlier. Um, and by talking about it earlier, I found out that Treat Williams is dead, and like, uh, heart kind of broke a little bit. Didn't expect you to be a Descendants fan. It's really good. Rotten to the core, everybody. Now in Descendants 3, that one song that I don't know who she is. Her character in the thing was like she was once a good she's like Aurora's daughter or something. I don't know. She like turns bad and she's like her song when she finally turns bad, it's so good. Why am I talking about Descendants 3 right now? I'm just telling you it's an incredible musical number. Yeah, the Queen of Mean song. I had to sing part of it in my head. Descendants rules, everybody. Should have known. I loved Michelle from Fosse Verdon. Yep. I will never say an unkind word about Michelle Williams. That's kind of my wife. Oh, I thought you were raised in Florida. I moved down here when I was like graduating high school, basically. Spent most of my youth, or basically all of it, in Vermont with like 5 people. Jesus Christ Superstar. I'm gonna put that on the A tier. Okay, so Jesus Christ Superstar, I think does what Last Temptation of Christ and the kind of those other films like desperately wanted to do and does it just so much better. Carl Anderson is Judas, one of the greatest performances in a musical, and Judas is such a compelling character. My God, Heaven on Their Minds is one of the best songs I've ever heard in my life, and so is the Jesus Christ, who are you? What have you sacrificed? His song at the end when he comes back, and you see he's all like in this like expensive white linen and he's like, tell me what you think about your friends at the top. Did you mean to die like that? Was that a mistake? Or did you know your mercy death would be a record breaker? Oh my God. I love that it is a story based. It essentially is told from Judas's perspective because he has the most insight and the most introspection and the most to say. I think it's a fascinating film. I think it's really well done. And I think the play itself deals with some complicated questions in extremely easy ways, and it makes me feel less alone because those are complicated, very cynical kinds of questions about Jesus. Uh, Done in a very populist, very popular film that makes you realize like, oh, these questions you have about faith, about God, they're extremely common. Like we all have a Judas in us. I think the film is really cool and brave and daring because you have to identify with Judas in the film. It makes you identify with probably the largest traitor in human history or in literary history. Depends on how you want to look at it, but you have to relate to Judas. It makes you. That's fucking rad. That's fucking rad. And Carl Anderson is just firing on all cylinders. He's amazing. Okay, so Rent. Rent. The very end of the beat here. I'm okay. Rent's actually one of my favorite musicals. The stage production of it. I like the philosophy. I like what it's trying to say. I like how it romanticizes the the bohemian inside of all of us, or bohemian culture, art culture, counterculture. I love how it does that. Chris Columbus, I think, directed Rent, and he is so boring. He's awful, and I think he made like awful changes to the fucking movie. Like they got rid of the entire part of the movie where like Mark and Roger have an argument with each other. Like that's kind of like the focal, like the zenith. Um, their arcs don't make sense if you cut out some of these songs that he did, especially with like Mark and Roger being kind of our anchors. We don't see them have a huge fight and meltdown with each other. But you know what? The crush that I still have in Rosario Dawson is pushing it up above Almost Famous easily. but I still like it. I like that we got most of the original cast, you know? Most of them were still able to play the role. Uh, I think it did its job fine because it did get a bunch of, like, teenagers interested not only in musical theater, but in just what it means to be bohemian, just what it means to go against the grain. I think it is it's always been a rebellious musical, and sometimes that comes across in the film itself, but I think the film is a bit sanitized as well. Um it just cut out certain arcs don't make sense within the movie anymore. It's weird. I don't the pacing is also fucked up in the movie. There's a lot of problems with Rent, but, there's enough things about it to praise, and it's probably still fun to watch. It just could have been so much better, if it had a filmmaker who I think identified with any part of the play. I feel such a disconnect between the director and the film that it's um, kind of makes me furious. But Chamber Unveil, all right? This is a later Jacques Demy musical. It's probably him at his most overtly political. Like, he was political in Cherbourg. I know that that gets a bad rap for or Demy as a whole gets a bad rap for not being political, and that's just I guess that's not even true. That's just if you're comparing him to Jean-Luc Godard or somebody. By the way, Godard loved Demy's films. Okay, so like I don't even know who you're trying to champion for anymore. Like, who are you fighting for? Okay, but even Cherbourg was definitely political, considering that the reason that Catherine and Guy had to split up was because of the Algerian conflict, right? Like politics directly interfered with what was perfect, sweet, and innocent and colorful young love. I think that's an extraordinarily political movie. But Un Chamber Unveil is I think a most overtly political movie because it deals with like union strikes and communism, things like that, socialism. Um, it's a lesser demi film. That one's gonna go at the very end of the beast. It's a lesser demi film, but there's still beauty to it. Uh, it's a bit more melancholic for sure. Uh, it's still a very decent, totally watchable musical. It's just like I said, just a lesser demi, which is still better than most. Still better than most. And then the Blues Brothers, man, John Landis is good. The Blues Brothers, fuck it, man. Let's put that on the A tier. I don't care. Fuck it. Blues Brothers is really fun and really fucking out there, man. And John Landis was actually, you know, a very, very good filmmaker, especially of comedies. And then Blues Brothers to me feels anarchic at times. It feels kind of wild, kind of reckless, you know. And Belushi and Aykroyd are eternal in the film. I love them so much, and I think it's very funny and very offbeat, unique, and clever ways. Yeah, I love the Blues Brothers. There's no use me putting it any lower. It's actually, I think a classic. I think it's a standard. I think it's great. Now let me talk about Once really quick. Once at the end of the A tier. At the end of the A tier is where it's gonna go. Um, I think it's a very sensitive film. I think there are great songs by Glenn Hansard featured and performed within it. "Say It to Me Now" and "Falling Slowly" I think are the best songs in the entire piece. Yeah, it's a sensitive kind of examination of loneliness and how music can really speak or sing to that. And you get the idea, if you are really sensitive, you get the idea that like soulmates don't always have to be like doesn't have to be a love story. But these two people are extraordinarily intimate when they sing with each other. It just sounds so private and personal and authentic. I think Once is very good. We go back here. Have I seen a Tick Tick Boom? No, I haven't. But I no, I haven't. That's the Andrew Garfield movie where he basically plays Jonathan Larson, right? Um, I like the song 3090 a lot. I if I'm in the mood to listen to show tunes, I'll still listen to that one. I just haven't watched it yet. I don't know if I ever will. No way. Kenny Ortega directed and choreographed Newsies? This Kenny fucking Ortega, dude, he's great. He's great. How about unsung king Kenny Ortega? I think he was one of the last choreographers to work with Selena. I think it was Witch's Brew who brought him up originally. Thank you. I'm glad that Kenny Ortega has been represented in this stream. He's apparently awesome. Definitely iconic. Yeah, Rent's a lot of fun. You know, it just could have been so much better, I swear. He could have got anybody behind the camera who has broken one law in their life. I don't know. I don't know. I'm harsh on Chris Columbus because that's because he deserves it. And also change your fucking name if that's actually your name. Um, gotta see that, Demi. It's worth seeing. I think it's worth seeing. I will say it's a darker Demi, you know. It's not as colorful. Yeah. No, I get what you're saying. Saw Blues Brothers for the first time 2 years ago, and it became an instant comfort movie. Love to see it get some praise. It's actually fantastic. It's actually such an extraordinarily wonderful film. I love it. Not as much as this next film. This is one of the best movies ever made. It is my favorite musical of all time. It is Cabaret, starring Liza Minnelli and Joel Grey. And two of the greatest performances I've ever fucking seen, directed by Bob Fosse. I think that Cabaret is just unbelievable to me. Um, God, maybe this time, Mine Air, Money. I think everything is. It's one of the most flawless films I've ever seen. And Liza Minnelli, I think just Sally Bowles is one of the greatest film characters of all time. And Sally Bowles, I see so much like physical poetry, and I get lost within that character so easily, so freely as well. You know, like I see not only so much of myself, but so much of like women that I end up falling in love with inside of her, and I love just the concept of cabaret, right? I love just what it is at a surface level, which is this kind of small group of kind of nihilistic like hedonists, this small like counterculture group, kind of being slowly overwhelmed and overtaken by fascist forces, you know. And it kind of shows like the slow and crippling destruction of freedom under fascism, and I think that's what's so interesting about Bob Fosse's film, because I think he really lays this out here, because he gives you like a binary basically, and there's not a whole lot of nuance to this decision, and I like it a lot because in the film it's there are two modes of existence. One is total freedom and one is absolute purpose, right? You know, and absolute purpose I think is absolute fascism, absolute meaning or meaninglessness. And meaninglessness is beautiful. It's freedom because freedom doesn't even have a purpose, but you have to choose. And I think it's super complicated. I think that Sally Bowles is one of the most fascinating and sexy fucking musical characters, film characters of all time. I'm absolutely obsessed with her in the film. I love her to death. Uh, and I think that the film is marvelously choreographed by Fosse and brilliantly shot. And yeah, Joel Grey, that's easily one of the best performances of all time. And I think people give Joel Grey a lot of shit, right? Because Cabaret came out the same year that like Godfather 1 came out, if I'm remembering this correctly. And I think both films were nominated for a bunch of Oscars, and Cabaret ended up beating um, The Godfather in quite a few ways, and one of those ways was Joel Grey, beating out at least Robert Duvall for The Godfather and probably Pacino too. And by the way, I think Joel Grey deserves it. That's insane. He's almost doing a strictly Broadway performance in this film, and it's translated so beautifully because it's so alien and weird to us. Him as the MC, it's one of the most chaotic performances I've ever seen, and one of the most performative performances I've ever seen. Every single tick, every single gesture that he does is just so mesmerizing to me. Um, Cabaret, I think, is perfect filmmaking at its very, 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 very best. And it makes me feel proud to be a misfit. I love Cabaret so much. Little Shop of Horrors, I think is funny. Actually, that's underselling it. I think that Steve Martin's Dentist song is one of the funniest things committed to film. And I love the girls who, like, in the chorus line, who kind of sing the downtown where the lights are gray or whatever. You know what? It's really funny. How about this? It'll go just above Rent on the B tier. It's a funny movie. Rick Moranis is a delight. I love his Suddenly Seymour. Um, awesome, awesome remake, right? It's a totally transformative remake. I love it so much. Actually, it's very interesting. Um, I wish we got more dirty and sultry, but political movie musicals like Cabaret. Oh, so do I. My God, I think Cabaret took so many. Well, it stole my heart. I think it took a lot of chances. I think it was incredible. Yeah, Liza was just unbelievable. Like so talented, like so fucking beautiful, and just to me like transcendental. Like Sally Bowles is an eternal film character to me. Like, she means so much to me. I see so much when I see her. She's like the iconography unto herself. Like to me, she is representative of rebellion, of misfit identities at their most dangerous, sexiest, and also most amplified. Liza Minnelli, man, fucking ruled in that movie. Flower Drum song? It's not ringing a bell. No. This one just slipped under my radar. It looks like a lot of people like it, though. If it's a movie you like, I'll check it out. Chitty Chitty Bang Bang Labyrinth, or another fictional band movie, ladies and gentlemen, The Fabulous Stains. Um, I, I forgot Labyrinth existed, if I'm being perfectly honest. Um, who doesn't love Jennifer Connelly in that? And I don't know why I didn't include it. I think it'd be on the C tier, to be honest. Like, I lose interest in the film directly after the Dance Magic Dance song. But ladies and gentlemen, The Fabulous Stains is pretty dope. I should have put that on there with Diane Lane, right? I should have done that one. But Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, we can forget about Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. That's fine. Yes, came out the same year as Cabaret. Okay, awesome. He kind of terrifies me as the MC, not gonna lie. But to me, in a good way, he's so unpredictable and fucking weird. And we only see him off stage like twice, and he's just doing like pervy fucking shit directed at Sally Bowles. uh, but cinephiles today are still pissed off that he won Best Supporting Actor Oscar that year, and I'm like, well, you can't deny it. It's so great. You give him the fucking Oscar. Give him those awards. Duvall and Pacino, they didn't come close to him in that. They honestly didn't. That's one of the most legitimately psychotic performances ever. This Joel Grey is the MC. It's perfect. Now we have Donkey Skin. A tier, A tier. You can go to the top of the A tier. That's another Jacques Demy film. I think Jacques Demy is probably a master of the musical. I say probably as if I don't know for sure that, yes, he's an absolute master of the musical. Donkey Skin is his fantasy musical, once again, starring Catherine Deneuve, his greatest muse, and I think one of the best apparently one of the best actors of musicals ever, even though she never actually sang a line in any of these movies. Donkey Skin is yeah, it's fabulous. It's kind of experimental. It's slightly surreal. Um, Once again, it's beautiful. It's even a little manic, a little out there, but a totally inspired kind of fantasy musical that I have a lot of fun watching. Um, Her dad, the king, is played by Jean Garris or something. I don't know his name, but he played the Beast in Jean Cocteau's Beauty and the Beast, and he's excellent in it. It's so good. Um, I think that might actually be like Jacques Demy's most queer movie in its own way. Which makes it a bit more like rebellious. There's something rebellious about that movie, and then there's also something sweet and magical too. There's a lot of dimensions to Donkey Skin for me. And then Singing in the Rain, I do like Singing in the Rain. Okay, at the end of the A tier, it's not S tier to me. An American in Paris, I think, is just so much better. But Singing in the Rain, it's undeniable. Anyone who tells you that Singing in the Rain isn't a good movie, I think, is lying and trying way too hard to seem like something that they're not. Singing in the Rain is a altogether delightful film. Uh, it might be one of the most delightful films about film that ever existed. A lot of those tend to get a bit there's bitterness in a lot of those. With Singing in the Rain, there's almost a celebration of the human condition, exclusively at its most hopeful. The song "Singing in the Rain" itself is about hope under emotional times of bad weather, right? Um, I think it's a fun romp through the silent era and into the beginning of the talkies. I think it says a lot of curious, but also extremely funny and sweet things about uh, about its own frameworks. So about the movie making industry. I think that Singing in the Rain is excellent. I think Debbie Reynolds and Donald O'Connor are also excellent. Make 'Em Laugh is an incredible song, incredible number. That's great. That's awesome shit. Yeah, I do like Singing in the Rain. It's just a low A because there are parts that like I forget that I really don't like. There are really parts that don't fit in, but the parts that do for me, the parts that work within Singing in the Rain are so good that like I fucking immediately forget about the number that just didn't work for me. You know, I think that people are extremely charitable to Singing in the Rain, but I think that's for a good reason because there are certain parts of it that makes the viewer, it makes us all feel not only cared for but seen and celebrated within the film itself. And then here's another cheat. I totally cheated on this one. I'll put it with my other cheat, Gilda. Rio Bravo is not a fucking musical, okay? But once again, when I think of the movie, the very first thing I think of is My Rightful Pony and Me, the Dean Martin song. It's the very first thing I think of, and I also think it's the best part of the entire movie, and it's when you truly see the camaraderie between John Wayne and Ricky Nelson and Dean Martin. It's when you really see their camaraderie, the friendship, the kind of mock brotherhood that they got going for themselves, that kind of like unity under fire. You get a lot of huge moments of character development are completed within that scene. It's not a fucking musical, but to me, the first thing I think of is a musical number. So, I mean, lock me up, throw away the key. It's going to the B tier. Hedwig and the Angry Inch is also going to go to the very end of the B tier. I think it's kind of delightful. Um, Isabel, you're like a big bandwagon fan. Like, where'd you come from? The dark web? Who's a huge bandwagon fan? What are you talking about? I said it was fine. It's not that good, Isabel. I'm sorry. First place is Cabaret. Our homie Liza Minnelli and Bob Fosse sitting pretty at number one. And it's not going to change, ladies and gentlemen. Cabaret is my favorite musical ever. So it's going to be staying there. Any Gene Kelly movie is worth a watch. Honestly, you're probably right. Talk about an actor who elevates literally every single thing he appears on. Oh, this is off topic, but it made me think of you. Have you seen the high school horror films that are being added to Criterion? No, I have not. I'll give you a quick thought of them though, if I can type. Give me a second. High school horror films, Criterion. Hold on a sec. I think this has to be it. I'm at like a bloody disgusting article, but it was written 2 days ago, so this has to be what you're talking about. Wait, they're adding wait, these are all being added to the collection? Oh, the Criterion Channel. Because I see, like, I Know What You Did Last Summer and The Faculty on there, and Donnie Darko and Ginger Snaps. Unfriended. I mean, Slumber Party Massacre, so if Isabel's still in the chat, sh Criterion sees you and loves you. Massacre at Central High. Yeah, I've seen all the ones they're featuring here at least, except for Battle Royale 2, but I'm sure that's not a good movie, so I won't watch it anyway. But, no, that's cool. Okay, if they actually they should actually put out I Know What You Did Last Summer or The Faculty on Criterion. I'll fucking buy it. I will fork up 40 hard-earned dollars for, for a proper, pristine version of, I Know What You Did Last Summer, a needlessly proper and pristine version of it. That would be dope. All my hard work will have paid off on that day when Criterion views I Know What You Did Last Summer in The Faculty as contemporary cinema essentials. Justice for Fred Astaire. Fred Astaire, there's another Fred Astaire coming up, but guess what? I'm gonna be kinda mean to him. Yeah, I do like Jesus Christ Superstar a lot. I was talking about Carl Anderson playing Judas a lot. He's so fucking good. It's great. Everyone on yeah, I saw that actually. I saw a bunch of I saw a bunch of fan cams, if you can call them that, of, Gene Kelly and the pirate. His mustache is so fucking weird in that, though. It's off-putting. I mean, it is pretty sexy, you know, it's a divisive situation. I think that the mustache takes away from the man. Uh, Gigi isn't here because, like, I think we should kind of erase that movie. That movie is kind of fucked up a little bit. But my favorite Vincent Minnelli movie is An American in Paris. I think that's excellent. So beyond excellent. All right. Now that's just perfection. I started watching The Royal Wedding and the score is stuck in my head. So catchy. Super catchy. All right. Grease. I mean, it goes in the D tier. It's like the most momcore movie of all time. It's perfect. What's what I don't care. It's perfectly innocuous. I don't care about Grease. All right, I don't care about anything about it. I don't know why I include movies and then don't have any insight to provide. I just don't like the movie Grease. Goes to the D tier. Maybe I added it here because I don't like it, and yet I think I've probably seen it in my life at least 25 times because everybody's convinced it's a great standard, a great essential film. I don't fucking know why. It's goofy and dumb and bad and poor. But Phantom of the Paradise is S tier. Let's get that above Sweeney Todd. Brian De Palma's wonderful, wonderful, twisted, morbid, fucked up little horror musical, starring Jessica Harper from Suspiria and Paul Williams, who is a legend in his own right. Um, I think this one came out a year before Rocky Horror Picture Show, and like I think people should have really latched on to Phantom of the Paradise, man, because that's also a phenomenal movie, or maybe part of the fun of Rocky Horror Picture Show is that it obviously sucks. Phantom of the Paradise is just as psychotic, just as wacky, just as morbid, just as chaotic as Rocky Horror Picture Show, but it's just so impressive, and the songs are incredible. I love that film. It's pure chaos. It's completely mad. It's lovely. It's great. It's like it's like a goth kids version of Pet Sounds. There's a lot of like Beach Boys feelings going on in the movie. I like it a lot. All right, Fred Astaire time, everybody. Swing time. So swing time. Swing time's a complicated movie, ladies and gentlemen. Let's just go ahead and put it on the seat here. So here's the problem with swing time, everybody. Is that Fred Astaire is, I think, almost without question, I think he is one of the most impressive screen dancers of all time. To watch him dance on screen is it's really something special. The guy just seems so eternal when he's tap dancing, and he and Ginger Rogers are a remarkable pair. There's a lot of movie magic to be found within the films of Fred Astaire, and Swing Time is generally considered to be his best work, their best work, that or Top Hat. I like Swing Time a little bit more than Top Hat, because I find the musical numbers more intoxicating. The problem with Swing Time is that there's one musical number, the Bojangles musical number, where Fred Astaire likes to don a bit of blackface. And the problem with Fred Astaire doing blackface is that, like I said, he's one of the greatest dancers in the history of cinema. So he added a dangerous sort of gracefulness to like a minstrel show. You know, Fred Astaire is a bit more dangerous than a lot of people like recognize. He's cinema magic. He's whatever. He's fine. He's good. But his best movie features like a ridiculously racist musical number like within it, almost as its major set piece. It's on a stage. It's like the one that's the most performative and like sonically conceived out of all of them. So but, you have to represent Astaire and Rogers in some way, but like I said, Swing Time is better than Top Hat because the rest of the songs, the rest of the dances, mwah, fucking gorgeous. Perfectly choreographed, perfectly executed and performed, and yeah, you feel a bit swept away. It's just there's like a huge stain on that movie that you can't really clean. So, let me look at the, you love stashes? I mean, I am not. I don't see it pulled off very well. And I do honestly agree with that meme that the sluttiest thing a man can do is, grow a mustache. Because oh my god, they look fucking you know what? I don't love stashes. I'm gonna take a firm stance right now. I do like American in Paris, but it's the, only one where I can't totally vibe with Gene being a creep. Didn't you bring up, like, Gigi earlier, though? That's a creepy movie. I don't think Gene's a creep in it. I think Gene's fine in it. I think that's how you're supposed to court a lovely young ballerina. Supposed to show up at her work and badger her. It's fine. It's Gene Kelly. He can pull it off. He can pull it off because he's so charismatic. It's fine. Yeah. Oh yeah. Exactly. Oh my god. Same with Grease. Why have I watched it so much? So many times. So many times that I probably know all the words to Summer Lovin'. I could probably do like the choreography for Grease Lightning. I've seen it so many times. Grease is a lot better to me as a kid. Yeah, probably agree. You're a Starin Rogers joint of choice. You're a Top Hat person. Shall We Dance is good. This format doesn't work because I say inflammatory things, but only Zach gets the platform. I think it works better this way. I think this is good. This is great. Inflammatory things. Like what? I think everything I've said has been perfectly agreeable and reasonable. You know, insightful and smart and cool. Meet Me in St. Louis is okay. Not a huge fan of it. That was one that I considered putting on here, but then I didn't, to be honest, to be a low C. To be a low C. I do like Judy a lot, right? It's just not as crazy about that one. Funny Face very, very nearly can't got in here. But in that one, I find Fred Astaire a creep. So, but Audrey Hepburn's a cutie. I always got the titles confused. I thought that Funny Girl was Funny Face and like interchangeably because Barbara Streisand. I called her a cutie earlier, so I can say it. I mean, she fits the funny face thing better, but I think her face is really attractive. It's fine. What am I saying anymore? Here's another cheat. I cheated again, everybody. This is Buffy the Vampire Slayer once more with feeling. And oh, you better believe it's just above all that jazz on the S tier. It's one of the best episodes of television I've ever seen. I think it's Joss Whedon doing incredible work and really nailing he had a few existentialist or at least postmodern understandings of genre filmmaking. And like I've said throughout this video, musicals are really cool because it allows you to amplify some certain situations, certain feelings, or certain gestures. What it also allows you to do that Joss capitalized on and once more with feeling is it allows you to reveal um, like private things, hidden things, secrets, to reveal your full emotions at their most amplified in a performative way, so that you actually have like an audience to participate, being the other players within the film itself. And once more, the feeling is genuinely about a group of friends who can't really communicate with each other, or at least aren't communicating meaningfully with each other. And it's not until the end that Buffy reveals that she wishes she was dead. But it's really good. I was trying to refresh my memory on like musicals, and I read this part of this book today, and then I remember that this lady I think was she's a good friend of Joss Whedon's, and I think may have been like his film professor. So that's what made me remember once more with feeling, and then I had to cheat and get it on this tier list, and I'm like, okay, she taught him a lot of what he knows about film, and it makes a lot of sense. I think that once more with feeling is someone who perfectly understands the contrived nature of musicals and uses them to benefit the story in extremely emotional ways that completely push a rather stubborn narrative forward. It comes out of part of season 6 where, yeah, characters are refusing to actually communicate meaningfully to each other. So he forces that through to the theatricality of music. He forces that sonically with song and dance. I love it. Joss Whedon, fucking genius. And then lastly, oh, we saved the gem for last, ladies and gentlemen. Trauma Studios presents Matt and Trey Parker's Cannibal the Musical. Everybody remember this banger? I think it's really funny. I'm gonna put it above Bandwagon because Bandwagon is not as good as Cannibal the Musical. Cannibal the Musical is really funny. The sky is blue and all the leaves are green. Have a spadwinkle day, everybody. I think it's great. Okay. I think Cannibal the Musical is it's pretty funny actually. Um, wasn't that their first movie? Was not Trey Parker's first movie? I don't know. I don't remember. I think it was before South Park, though, for sure. Great indie movie. I'm glad Troma got their hands on it. So, Funny Face is the only movie where Audrey Hepburn having an older. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, kind of creepy. Kind of creepy. They love to pair Audrey with an old man. Probably because old men love to fantasize about her. I don't know. Or old men were asking for some like pretty heavy favors behind the scenes, being like, "Yo, get me cast with Audrey Hepburn. I'll look more attractive and younger." But it never really worked. I don't know why. A lot of actresses did indeed have that problem. Yeah, but I feel it was particularly egregious with her. Couldn't even get old guys who looked good for their age. Yeah, I mean, I agree with that conversation. And a lot of actresses do have that problem, but, maybe Audrey Hepburn was so pretty that, like, every guy next to her didn't look didn't look very good, just comparatively, I don't know. But that's almost, like, super common in Hollywood, right? But let's go full screen for a moment. This is the this is my best musicals tier list. I hope I provided some sort of insight about musicals. I don't know though. I hope you had fun talking about musicals with me. There were definitely hot takes here. I think that there's like I said, it's very easy to make a bad or less than average musical, and I think we've proved that it's kind of difficult to make an actually great one. Um, but the S tier I think is solid bangers, A tier solid bangers as well, and this is probably like the best B tier we've featured in one of these videos before. That's a good looking B tier, if I may say so myself. I think all these movies are at least worth watching. Even the ones on the D tier. Me putting it on D tier doesn't mean don't watch it. In fact, like most of the movies on the D tier are kind of considered to be essentials. You know, I just think that they're trash. So go back here. Yeah, but that was fun. That was fun. Yeah, this is to me an S tier I can totally get behind and stay loyal to, stay faithful to. I won't flip-flop on this. My favorite musicals ever, best musicals of all time, according to your cult boyfriend, Cabaret, Umbrellas of Cherbourg, An American in Paris, The Young Girls of Rochefort, the Buffy the Vampire Slayer episode, Once More with Feeling, All That Jazz, Phantom of the Paradise, and Sweeney Todd, the Demon Barber of Fleet Street. That's it. Mm. I'm glad you enjoyed it, your intrepid commentator. That that's awesome because this was a viewer suggestion. Got any more viewer suggestions? What other tiers should I do? Like I said, musicals, I'm not an expert on musicals, and you guys were providing me with a lot of good titles that I hadn't even heard of before. Sweet Charity, like why haven't I seen that? Bob Fosse, Sammy Davis Jr., Knights of Cabiria, like that all of that involved in that movie. Why haven't I not watched that movie? That's ridiculous. Sounds really awesome, so thanks for that poll. She did have an affair with William Holden, so I give that one a pass. William Holden was hot though. Okay, so we have to recognize the hot though get out of jail free card. William Holden was kind of hot. Him, I was just thinking of him in Bridge on the River Kwai. He was still fucking killing it. Coppola checking in. I was getting worried. You hadn't checked in. We might have been doing terribly over here, man. But glad to see you, Coppola. But yeah, probably gonna wrap things up here soon. Yeah, like I said, musicals to me are very special. I think they're a very interesting format of cinema. I think the genre is mostly superb. Um, I think in theory it's fascinating, and it seems like a little dangerous to attempt because if you fail, you will fail miraculously. But if you succeed, you will also succeed miraculously. You will have done something transcendental and something that gives people a new lease on life. Entertaining, something awesome. Top postmodern list: movies or TV. All right, that's the second time I got that. I got that request. Looks like I'll actually have to do it, I guess. All right. Okay. Okay. That sounds doable. Someone in the last stream suggested something similar, but that's not a bad idea. But musicals are awesome. Musicals are great. All right. But yeah, I think that's gonna wrap it up for me. Thank you very much for coming to my stream. Hope you guys stay safe and have a remarkable rest of your night. Have a good week. I hope it goes by smoothly. I hope there's no big problems or great upsets along the way. Thank you so much for tuning into the live stream. If you were here live, and if you're watching the replay, yeah, I think about you guys too. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for watching me. Until next time, I am your cult boyfriend.